So whether you think you're going to succeed or whether you think you're going to fail, you're 100% right in both cases. And so this little saying is loosely accredited to Henry Ford. And sometimes you see it show up on Facebook, you show it on LinkedIn, and usually it's from someone who's kind of, they've kind of activated the part of brain that's been laying a little quiet for a little bit. So what I thought I would do is take a little bit of a deeper analysis of what I think the three factors are in play and why this saying seems to bear itself out with a certain amount of accuracy over time. So I call these three factors the Bermuda Triangle of your cognitive bias. And the three factors are frequency illusion, the recency effect, and confirmation bias. And so my definitions are not scientific by any stretch of the imagination. And what I would do is encourage each of you to look them up, man, go on the internet and take a look and see how these factors might be affecting how you're thinking and how your prospect might be thinking, how you might have some additional influence over presentation when you do that, and why people may or may not be holding on to misinformation or things that really just aren't empirically provable. So first off, let's talk about frequency illusion. And so this is best illustrated with the red car example. Let's say you're thinking about buying a red car and you hadn't been thinking about that before, but all of a sudden it's at your top of mind awareness. And so what happens is driving down the street, you see a red car, see a red car, see a red car. So are there more red cars on the road? No, there probably are not. What's happening is because you're thinking about a red car and it's at your top of mind, it starts fitting in and you start seeing it all over the place. Number two is the recency effect, which is the basic principle that says that the things that have happened to us most recently or the things that are happening to us right now, they have the most impact and the most weight in our perception and in our thoughts and in our biases. So the events that are happening to me today are fresh in my mind, and I'm going to be able to, consider those things. I don't always go through the archive library of all the things that have happened to me in the past. And if I do, it's usually more intellectual. It's not typically a very emotional exercise. And so this is one of the reasons why when you're talking to a sales professional and the salesperson brings you through some kind of a process, he says, gosh, with everything we've figured out today, with all the things we've talked about, is there any reason why you wouldn't want to sign a contract right now, right? So that sales professional, they may or may not be aware of it, but what's happening is they're never going to have more influence over your decision-making process than after they've done a presentation and you're sitting there. If the customer says, well, it sounds really good, but I need to think about it. I need to sleep on it. Can I get back to you tomorrow? Sure, you can. But strike while the iron's hot. Where does that saying come from? Really simple. It's like, okay, there's a heightened interest in my product or my service. I've been able to bring you through a system of understanding. And now it's go time. It's time to commit, right? If you don't do it now, you're probably not going to do it. Another reason why you have a test drive at the car dealership. So now you're isolated with a sales professional. You're enjoying all the attributes of the car. Can't you see yourself in the car? Well, heck, why don't you just get inside the car? You don't have to visualize it. And they're trained very specifically. It's like if I can get them in the car for a test drive, there's a high likelihood I'm going to be able to get them to sign right then, right? And it overcomes all the pain and suffering of dealing with the finance people and all the other blah, blah, blah. Recency effect is important, particularly around presentation skills. And then the last leg of this Bermuda Triangle is confirmation bias. And what this means is we all have a worldview, and this worldview has come to us through our culture and our upbringing and our education. And so after we get to a certain point in time, our worldview starts getting more and more and more galvanized. It becomes calcitrant. And in order for something to kind of persuade my worldview, it has to be pretty powerful, or it has to take a lot of time. Because what I'm trying to do after I've got a set worldview is the things that come into my world, I don't try to bring them in and change my core understanding of how the world works. What I'm doing is I'm bringing something in, a concept or an idea, I'm tasting it. I'm like, yeah, I don't like that. I spit it out. So if it doesn't fit into my understanding already, it's not going to become a part of my go forward plan. So as a sales professional, this is called handling objections, right? So there's this old saying out there. It's like, hey, don't get educated by a salesman, right? So do your own research. Hey, guess what? Do your own research. But as a sales professional, understand you're going to go into situations where people think, oh, it's not a good time to buy a house. I'm going to rent. I'm going to rent forever, right? And I'm never going to buy, never going to sell. You know what? I just don't want to have to deal with the inconvenience of what you're selling for. I don't believe your story, right? So your story doesn't fit into my narrative, and their narrative is going to be an assessment of what they've already experienced in life and how they're going to measure, right? Last time I talked to a salesperson, I ended up buying a timeshare, and now, it's 20 years ago, and now I can't get rid of it, and now I'm blah, 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 blah. This is where you're dealing with people's past baggage, and that's a lot of times where their objections are coming from. As a sales professional, you're operating in this Bermuda Triangle all day long, and you operate in that triangle not just from a sales standpoint where you're trying to encourage somebody else's view to come into an alignment with your product and your service in the hopes that you're going to be able to convince them to go ahead and sign a purchase agreement and go forward with a purchase. It's operating in their mind. It's also operating in your mind. As a sales professional, you've got some past biases in how you think about what you're doing. Also, it's always easier to get a sale after you've already gotten a sale. Why is that? Because it's called the recency effect, right? And then all of a sudden you're like, gosh, you know what? I just had a sale, and that just reconfirmed. I had some confirmation bias that, someone told me after I get a sale, and I got another sale. And so it changes your outlook, and all of a sudden you think, well, gosh, it's a target-rich environment. There's sales all over the place. Your counterpart might be sitting next to you in the same exact office environment, not getting any sales, and they're operating in the exact same environment. Well, what's the difference? The difference is the psychological staging. After you've had some success and it felt good, you thought, okay, things are successful, right? I'm going to do that, right? So the number one way to break out of a stall is to re-educate yourself, rejuvenate yourself, and then start refocusing what you're going to be thinking about. This is going to drive your frequency illusion that, yes, no, it's a great time. It's never been a better time to sell a house, right? So are you lying to yourself? No, I don't think you're lying to yourself. What I think you're doing is you're kind of using some basic core principles that are already a part of psychological and industrial staging to help encourage you to gear up your mind to get done what you got to get done. I know, heavy lifting, right? Parting shot. Use your superpowers for good and not for evil. If you need any additional help with this, and it seems like it's a lot, but it's really not, get on my calendar. I'd love to help you out. I don't care whose logo is on your business card or who you might call boss. Book appointment with me. Please hit that subscribe button, and don't forget, visit our website and schedule your free 30-minute evaluation.